and SOMA video series and podcast. I'm so excited to share with you some conversations with amazing people in South Orange and Maplewood. I'm Danielle, Perrotta, your host today, and we're talking about connecting, collaborating, and contributing in the community of South Orange and Maplewood. Today I'm so excited because joining me is Michael and Viktorija Adams. Thank you guys so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and we're talking about TEDx Maplewood as one of our pieces of conversation, but we're also going to get to know Michael and Viktorija a lot better. I just want to let you know I'm a huge fan because the way I know you first and foremost is by the beautiful mural that you've done in our town.
It was an honor.
I drove past it, I watched you create it, I watched you do just like this beautiful artwork come to life, and then every time I drove past it, it just hit me in the heart because I kept wanting to slow down. It slowed me down and it made me sort of really want to engage and think about that art. So that's what you've done for me, is help me to slow down. Tell us a little bit about what you do in life so that everybody can get to know you a little bit better, and then we'll talk about your connection to South Orange and Maplewood.
You first.
I'm a photographer, shooting fashion, beauty, and a bit of underwater stuff as well, and as advertising. And Viktorija?
Well, I am a makeup artist by day, and I'm a painter by night. I guess that would be my passion.
Yeah, and look, the studio, we're here in their studio, and I'm just blown away. It's eye candy for me. I can't stop looking at all the beautiful artwork and work that you've created. So you did the mural, so you guys work a lot and collaborate a lot together.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You collaborated on that mural, so let's get right into it. That's a big contribution to our towns. And so how did that all sort of happen?
Well, that I saw there was a call for the murals on
I think it was on Facebook.
Yeah. And I was painting years and years ago, and
He taught me how to paint.
Wow.
The reason why I paint is because of him. Yes.
And
Where's your light coming from?
the more I got into photography, the less I was painting, and also my canvases started getting larger and larger, so it became harder and harder to paint because you need space.
Yeah.
And I want to paint on the ground, so I need a whole lot of space and be really sort of messy. And as you go further in life, you get less space, so
yeah.
sort of
AKA
Brooklyn.
Right.
So then she started picking up more painting, and I started missing the painting more, and then I saw that opportunity, so I was like, this is really great, sort of something to do. And we had already did a different mural for the Isaiah house, like the year prior.
And Makeup Forever.
Right, and Makeup Forever, right. You did yours for Makeup Forever.
Yeah.
I've seen those, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
So how did you conceptualize that? What was the process? I should say, what was the process? How did you come up with the idea? How did you then put it up on the wall? I mean, it's amazing.
It was big, yeah. Yeah, I saw they had a few walls, a few options, and of course we saw the biggest one, and I was like, I need to have the biggest one. And
go big or go
more.
That's right. Because it was always fascinating. I always loved murals. I love seeing murals around towns, different countries, and to do one, like I said, we did other ones, but this one was just huge. Just the concept was huge. And so the premise, we had the guidelines of the premise of the mural was to be, celebrating the town, and so, and we were just new here, so it was an idea that was very fresh in our head anyway.
And also, a reason why we moved here is because, diversity, and, I remember when we were looking at the houses, the first thing we saw was a giant gay flag, and I was like, this is our home, we're coming here,
Right.
You know what I mean? So we were already, so excited and in love with the fact that, our child can grow up in a suburbia, but still be surrounded by different cultures and different mindsets, and that's what we wanted to give her, so it was natural for us to celebrate it with mural,
That's
Right.
But
So then we just started, for a lot of things I sketch in Photoshop, so I grab the ideas, I throw them together, and then we edit from there, we pull out colors, she gives me, I don't like that, or this, and why is this in there, so then we'll change a little bit this, change a little bit that, and then you take that, and then sometimes we'll print that out and then sketch further, and it's just an evolving process.
And
the same thing
yeah.
happened with that.
And an important thing about this mural, though, is that the idea of the multicolored face in a grid stemmed from the editorial that we did that was published in Harper's Bazaar, US. It was a beauty editorial where I turned the model into a different, color makeups and tones and stuff, and it was spliced to look like a the collage. And so it was in a way a fusion of our art and commerce, because it came from that idea of how wonderful it would be to actually splice all of these children's faces, and give a message that everybody belongs here and this is your town.
Okay, so I just want to say that I have goosebumps right now because so many people have asked me about that.
Yeah.
How did they come up with that? And it was just like one of the burning questions I've had for you ever since I've seen the mural. So, thank you.
I was sitting there and that just came to me. Like that is just like an awesome way to incorporate that and just that concept. And the whole thing is you see there's little bits like all the flags and the AM MAPLEWOOD.
And I'm an immigrant.
Right.
I am an immigrant. I wanted to get married. We got married in the shadow of Statue of Liberty on the boat.
Wow.
Because I wanted to say thank you to this country for giving me, everything. A beautiful man, beautiful family. I had nothing. We came from war. My mom and I were homeless at one point. So, she's a Croatian Serb and my dad was a Croatian. Those were two parties in a war. I never belonged until I came to America.
Wow.
So to me, saying, this child is saying, I am Maplewood. It is taking pride and ownership of, your place and your space, and find your place within the community that is as colorful, as beautiful as you are, no matter your skin tone, no matter your sexual orientation, no matter your political or your religious beliefs.
Right.
If we come together, we create beautiful, colorful representation, such as mural or a community or life,
I just have to say that, so we hung out a little bit before our interview, and one of the things is that the conversations that are happening in South Orange and Maplewood are all the time. I mean, every place I go, people are having these conversations. Mm-hmm. And what I love about our town is that I really truly do feel like I belong here. And as we start talking about normal, which is the topic of the TEDx Maplewood, of the event, I keep thinking about that idea of the new normal.
Yeah.
And I feel like one of the things that South Orange Maplewood embraces is that everyone has their own normal.
Right.
Yeah.
And that there's not this sort of societal expectation that I see in other places, and it makes me feel like when I get together with somebody from our town, we can have a great conversation about who we are.
Right.
People can be vulnerable
Yeah.
about sharing their stories because there's this beautiful empathy
Yes.
and compassion, understanding.
And you
for
can
that.
accept the other person's normal as normal.
Right.
It doesn't have to be your normal.
Yes.
It's their normal.
As long as
Yeah.
it's not harmful and hateful.
Thank you, and I feel like that is the
because I cannot accept that.
Right.
Hate, I cannot expect. I can disagree with you
right.
on some things, and we disagree. We believe, we've been together for almost 20 years, and we believe that we're two separate planets that are shining light on each other. We're not, and never want him to think like me or me think like him, and we will sometimes butt heads and disagree about things, but that's what makes it beautiful, and that's what makes it interesting. How boring would it be if we were a homogenized society that
Right.
is the same thinking, same dressing, and everything? So I say, as long as you are loving and you have love in your heart, we can disagree.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah.
And that brings me to one of the questions I had about the two of you working together.
Mhm.
So you live together, you're married, you work together. How do you kind of separate out the work and how does that all,
It's all
how
the
do you
same
do
thing.
that?
It's all the same. It's all
We
who
live
we
for
are.
it.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
my friend years ago I was saying how we spend like so much time together
Yeah.
and we like very rarely part. He's like, oh man, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, I'm like, this is what we are. This is how we are.
Yeah, he came home and he told me that he was like, I feel sad for people that think being with your spouse or your partner is a punishment.
Right.
To us, and this is something, because we believe in individuality, we just love each other company, you know what I mean? And we constantly bounce ideas off each other. We are just each other's greatest cheerleaders. I'm more into him than I was 20 years ago.
Oh, who knew this was going to be all romantic?
Yeah, it is very, he's, and he has taught me so much, we taught each other so much, but, starting from something as pushing me to be best at my career and best as an artist, but also as a partner, when you have somebody who is so invested in you succeeding in every way possible, like, what else can you ask for?
All right, well, that answers my how do you do this? And
right.
you have a great, strong friendship and relationship.
Yes.
That's amazing.
And communication.
One of the key things is that we always want tomorrow to be better than yesterday. So we discuss it, we talk about it, like how, whatever the issue is at hand, sometimes it's hard to talk about, but
we fight
still,
for sure.
Still talk about it and still work on that thing.
Yeah.
We do the same thing with our daughter too. So just get that dialogue and then talk to her about things, about rationalizing about something, and she gets it.
How did you get involved in TEDx Maplewood, and how did you decide to connect with, or how do you connect to normal and that topic or that subject?
Well, we were fortunate enough to know one of the organizers, Rachel, that asked us to, be a part of it. Would we be interested in stuff? She's such a vibrant, driven, kind of social person, and we're fortunate enough to know her and love her.
Yes.
So she asked us to be part of this, and we were like, of course. I mean, it's and then she gave us the theme, and we were like, that opens doors.
The same thought, all right.
Okay.
It's
such a broad subject, and it's something that I personally see. This is where another dynamic that we work together. He's gonna drive me nuts with the idea that he has, and I'm like, no, I don't like it, and then it ends up being the most genius idea. I just have to come to the point where I give in. The same is with the mural. He is the brain and the vehicle behind how the mural was put together. The same with this project. I'm kind of like a brush that he wields, in a sense, but he is the core and the everything.
Like I had the vision with the first, I just sort of saw what it could be, and
it involved my children illustrations, and I was very resistant because I wanted to do something very serious and and he was like, no, you need to do your children.
Right. Yeah, at the time I didn't have the whole idea formed, but I knew what it should look like, and the visual of it, and then filling in the meaning behind it would come. The story could be told as you develop it, and that's where she was stuck. If she didn't see, she's like, well, I don't know, what's the story? I'm not gonna, can't get behind until there's a story there.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was letting that on the back burner, and she was coming up with ideas, and I was like, no. It just seemed like I was in the same boat. I don't get where that's coming from. I don't get what you're trying to, what are you trying to say with that?
I was trying to be a serious artist. Right. I was like, oh no, my children illustrations are not enough for this.
Right.
And he's saying, let's be authentic. Go with what you do, what you do. Yeah.
So then we just we sort of walked away from it for a little bit and let it sort of simmer back here, and then it just sort of happened. We're like, we need to think about this. We need to make, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then once I sat down and started actually looking at the elements that I thought should be in there, and then it started to come. There's going to be that element of a child. Okay, then how does normal pertain to the child?
Right.
And then once you really dove into the mental side of it, then it just started maybe creating itself.
So I guess I want to throw that question to you. What delights you about the new normal compared to the way you grew up for your child or for our children, and what kind of is the thing that's going to keep you up tonight?
Well,
I would,
everything keeps us up.
Yeah. The thing is, like, what we can start with is our illustration. The first thing that you notice that the child is wearing a Kevlar vest. That is the one new normal that we will never get behind.
Yeah.
The one new normal that our child had a active shooter drill at school at 5 years old. You know, that kind of normal that we have become so desensitized to such a incredible issue of gun safety, and that it is a normal thing for our children to practice to hide in the corners. And, you know, the little girl in the illustration, she's wearing a bubble pink Kevlar because we have normalized school shootings. And that is one of the prominent, centerpieces of the piece that we created. But, you know, and then it goes further to it, and take it away.
Well, I think I saw. Well, in generally speaking, I remember before we had children, like any good person before you have children, knew all the answers.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
we're the expert
Oh
on
my God,
parenting.
so smart.
Yeah.
Yes, I
So
mean,
she wasn't going to have any screen time.
yes,
Oh, no.
and
She
she's
was
gonna
gonna-
read Dostoevsky.
She's going to eat the best food.
Yes,
And she's
sushi.
Never going to have.
Organic and like,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
come out being like, let's order Indian tonight, Mom.
Exactly.
She's
and
never
she'll be
going to have
like-
anything out of a pouch.
Yeah.
It's like, my child's not eating out of a pouch.
Yeah.
Pouches are awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
Thing? You want some
Right.
type of thing?
and you can just like put the thing back on,
Yeah.
you can save it, like it's incredible. And screens, like we've gone up and down with the screens. You know,
I just want to
and-
high five you about that because I
Yeah.
feel like we're all going up and down about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She had a screen for a little bit, and then they turn into a monster, and then you take the screen away. But
Yeah.
everything, like I see, like I don't want to hold. I never after I like saw it and what the potential of it was. So like I don't want to. We also like the child's not watching TV. And like,
Yeah.
well, there's certain things that are now
Just like a PBS
Going into
shows
the
and everything.
future.
Yeah.
that if you keep them away from that, you're actually inhibiting their experiences. While everybody else is all, whether it's good or bad, they're all experiencing these things, and your child's not going to experience that.
Right.
Well, for me, I want, that's the future.
Right.
It's the future of existence. It's jobs. It's everything, and you're actually going to be inhibiting her from that experience and of being able to equip herself for her future,
Right.
not yours.
Yeah.
It's not my future. It's her future.
And we're certainly
Yeah, so-
curating, her experiences,
Right.
so. And
That's a great way to put it. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Curating her experience.
Right.
That feels so much like such a positive way to frame it
Right.
than, prohibiting or punishing
Right.
or rewarding.
And everything's a
Curating is
learning
great.
experience.
Yes, to
know.
us, if she's going to watch TV, which is not like a lot, she doesn't sit on and she's such a busybody like her dad, so she never really sits on a couch. It's usually in the background or whatever.
Where I was like, "Are you still watching this? Because we're gonna turn it off if you're
Yeah.
not watching."
Yeah.
No, I'm watching it.
Yeah,
from the
she's
other part of the room.
Yeah, she's just playing, and while she's
Yeah.
listening, and I mean that's the way I paint. I watch TV while I'm painting.
Yeah.
Like we just can't stop moving.
No.
Because to me, I feel like if I just sit down and watch television, I'm wasting my time. I could be creating something, and then I have ants in the pants, and I have to keep moving. So she is like that too.
Yeah.
But in the background, she'll have Danielle Tiger or what is the new one at the museum at the PBS, and
PBS has great shows
Yes.
that are educational.
Yeah.
And
But she never
kids
wants to
come
watch
away.
it. But then like once you put it on, then she's like, "Oh yeah," and she's actually learning something.
Yeah.
like for example, but the only he put the foot down. He doesn't like her to watch Incredibles or any kind of shows that have a lot of violence and
Too much
guns.
violence. Yeah. That's
He
what I say.
and I agree with him. It's like, why does my child, again, speaking
5-year-old.
of normal,
Right.
why would you normalize people being blown off and somebody shooting guns at the family or anything like
Right.
that? To us, that is not a normal that we're willing to accept.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
That's what
It's there. It's out there. It is certainly part of the world, and she's going to learn about it. But she doesn't have to at 4 years old, 5 years old, be seeing constant explosions and and people shooting guns all the time. It's just
and then we're educating her about guns too. We say, if you ever see somebody holding, we also go as far, as like if we're in somebody's house and they're going into the house on their own, we would ask the parents, do you have unattended weapons? That because we just want to make sure that we don't have a scenario of like another kid going, hey, let me show you something cool, and then you hear bang.
Right.
It's so we're not shielding her from it. We're educating her, but do we want her to get normalized in that? We don't,
And I think it's so interesting you say that, because going back to, I feel like the first time I really ever heard about like a mistaken gun going off or something like that was in high school. I didn't hear about it at 5. And now I'm having those same conversations, and it hurts my heart that we are normalizing gun violence by having our kids practice because I really would like it to come back to we don't practice that because we have better laws and we have better systems to really help with all of the reasons why these things are happening. Like, let's get more proactive and help people with mental health issues, help people with all these that we know are the problems out there. And what delights you about something that's new and normal now that maybe wasn't in your childhood? What's like delighting you?
For her? Oh my God, there's like everything. I love her phrases that, she learns new phrases and like just practicing.
Insterning.
Yeah, she doesn't know, if she doesn't know how to pronounce the word right, it's just adorable. Actually, has been going on for a year. I actually like this. I actually love that. And
I also, what delights me in general for her childhood and her existing in today's world is the fact that she can play with her guy friend and they both get dressed as princesses, and there is no judgment. There is no this toxic masculinity of like, you're a boy, you shouldn't be wearing a dress or anything like that. That there is that people are in general, I think, trying to raise.
Like, why don't you get the shoes that go with the dress?
Yeah, you know what I mean. And the thing is, the people are raising gentler, much more aware people, boys and girls. And I have a great hope for this humanity, that this generation is going to be more accepting and more kinder, and it goes something that he said to me, like people say to him, oh, you're so in touch with your feminine side, and he says, well, why would it be called feminine side?
Why does a man
caring and being gentle,
why does it have to be described as feminine?
Because then you're pegging it into the feminine and masculine.
Right. You're still sexualizing a
nurturing and caring
emotion. And now, it's finally coming around now. Where men, there's posts or hashtags of men being kind people and not being described as being feminine.
Right.
The same way, the other way around.
Yeah, it's like, oh, she can fix a car. She's so masculine. Why? No. She can fix a car.
Now she's empowered.
Yes. She has skills. That's her interest. It doesn't make her any. So I wouldn't call it a blurring of the lines, but finally.
Not that I have a problem being feminine.
Because he's the best with the maybe that shirt doesn't go with.
I had my fishnets on back in the day.
Yes, and he wore nail polishes. And he loved his sister's tutu. I wasn't even so feminine.
I was a man.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what we love. We love that the boys can be whatever they want for the majority of the family, because then when you allow children to express themselves and really give their personality the open door, you are raising much more accepting, gentle people that are going to grow up to have more functional relationships with each other.
Right.
Because there is
themselves.
there is no hang-ups, there is no issues. Of course, we're always going to have issues. We're
Right.
complex beings, we're human. But I think that is what I delight in her generation.
Yes.
Is that and what you mentioned, that people, we talk about mental health issues. You know, she has some friends, you know, that might need a little bit more help, you know, like have a sensory processing issues and stuff like that. And you see much less judgment. You know, and I stop people in the track when they go like, well, you know, so and so, that's probably because in their house. And no, you can have 4 children and they all have 4 different personalities. Please do not blame parents right away.
You just have to high five.
Yeah.
Right now.
You know what I mean?
Right
And
now.
do not,
Yeah.
you, and especially mom shaming is rampant.
Yeah.
You know, we have plenty of guilt ourselves.
Yeah, we don't
you
need
know?
anybody
We don't
else to
need
shame us.
anymore.
We feel like
Yeah.
that's a lot.
So, you know, I mean, of course, we're human. We all
Yeah.
fall into judges
Right.
and, but I try to kind of walk myself back and say, hey, how would you feel if somebody, because if something is taken out of context, but now you have much more open conversation about stuff
Right.
like that, about, you know, the autism spectrum and sensory processing and all of that. And then now when you see a kid that is throwing a massive fit in the playground or unless they're really harming somebody, then I'm worried.
Right.
But like, you don't go like, oh, look at, if that was my kid, I would. No, you go, oh my God, solidarity to mom and dad.
Right.
And, you know, the kid can be autistic or having a bad day or,
Right.
you know, like, let's step back. And I think society and new normal is raising the new generation of
Right.
people that would be a little bit kinder to each other.
And we need to take credit for that. I mean, one of the
Yeah.
things I think even that I feel is becoming more normalized is less of this shaming, not only for everybody else, but for ourselves. I'm just saying we're doing the best we can. We constantly are
Yeah.
collaborating with each other to
Yeah.
try to figure out, how do you do this? Maybe I can learn something to do this. And I think that's another really great SOMA quality. We get
Exactly.
together a
Right.
lot.
Right.
We
Yeah.
have so many events, we have so many
Right.
play dates, we have so much desire to get together. And what I see our generation doing more, putting the phone down,
Right.
Yeah.
right? Interacting with each other, connecting with our kids, getting
Right.
in the muck of things,
Right.
not being afraid to have hard conversations. And also, I've had some situations where I've described them to people where it felt like someone was shaming or judging me. I've been in those situations where my child has
Yeah.
had public meltdowns. And
Target is the
at
culprit.
first, right, at first it was so overwhelming that there was nothing to say.
Yeah, you just.
I'm not the kind of person that would rant back at somebody and be like, what if this was your kid? You know,
Yeah.
how would you like that?
Mm.
But I got to a point where I could educate people in a calm way because I feel like if they understand, they all of a sudden, that's the thing that helps them
fix
think
them.
differently.
Yeah.
If we keep othering the people that are different from us,
Yeah.
Right.
then we're not having really good collaborative conversations to
No.
try to all learn something
No.
new.
Right.
And I'm a big fan of, awakening and being more present. But we also have to be careful not to walk over the line and become too politically correct and too, there should be, I also believe, the things, some terminology and everything is being thrown too liberally around, and that's how you're imprisoning people as well.
Yeah.
By, they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions,
Yes.
so let's not walk to hell as well. Let's have a middle ground, as Buddha would say.
Right.
Walk the middle ground where you are aware, but you're also not slipping to the point of, because of the tolerance or awakening and stuff, with self-regulation and blurring what's wrong and what's right. Not everybody who comes to a game should get a medal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You should still teach, because then I feel like if we don't work hard for things, and if we don't teach our kids to excel and to learn and to be self-critical, we are breathing mediocrity.
Right.
And there is nothing scarier to me than a mediocrity.
Yeah.
You know,
no,
that you should be independent thinker and you should not get a medal just because you showed up. Your feelings will be hurt sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's how I always feel like every feeling hurt, every slight, every rejection is another like chink or like a plate in my armor that is being stacked up so I can survive the world. And that's the way we approach raising our daughter, is we're not going to deal, we say, oh, somebody was mean to her or whatever. We're not going to go and fight the bully.
Right.
We're going to teach our child to stand up to a bully.
Yeah.
Right.
You
I
know,
think it's
give
great.
her tools to succeed.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. I've done this with my son, and what I do differently that I feel like I've learned also from being a teacher is I've practiced with him. Like, what if somebody said this? What could you say back? And then practice, like somebody saying something, and
we've done some.
him having that
Role
practice,
playing.
role playing is
Yeah.
is extremely helpful.
Right.
I mean, I use it. You know, I'll go to my friends and I'll say, okay, I have this issue. Let's practice. You know, this is what I want to say. What would you say if you weren't you? If you were the other person, what could be the positive outcome, and what if it doesn't go my way? How can I prepare for that too? Well, let's get to it and talk about Maplewood and South Orange a little bit. So, you guys told me you've been here for 3 years, almost 4.
Yes.
You've already contributed this beautiful mural to our town, and now you're part of TEDx Maplewood. I'm so excited to know about that. Where will the art piece be showcased? Where will people be able to see it?
I guess it's going to be on stage.
Okay.
It'll be on stage during the.
I think
During
the
the
photographs of
Okay.
it.
No, the actual pieces are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the actual pieces are going to be on stage during the talks.
Oh, okay.
And then later on, I guess there's a gallery show.
Okay, good.
Of the pieces.
I think
That's what I was
will
getting
be,
to.
Yeah, they will be,
Right.
I think, for sale,
Yeah,
right?
it'll be for sale.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. That's wonderful.
So,
And so don't think too hard about this question. If I could magically snap my fingers and transport you to someplace in South Orange or Maplewood, where would you be? Where would you go that makes you just happy and
A park.
yeah? Which
outside.
one? Which one?
Which one? We love the down by the train because there's so much there. You have the
the
little
Maplewood,
ponds.
the Maplewood
Yeah,
Memorial.
Memorial
Yeah.
Park.
Yeah.
And
Even
the
the
library.
playground, the library, the park.
We
everything
love the
is just so
library.
right
I love the
there,
library. It's
And
such-
the
It's a beautiful
downtown,
space.
we love I love Palmer's
And the ice
bakery.
cream. Faye loves the ice.
Yeah.
I always have to go get an ice cream,
Yeah.
even if it's 20 degrees out. You know.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
great. That's great.
Yeah,
Palmer's quiche, and
Yeah.
and just the fact that they're family.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful story too, like
Right.
mom and daughter and everything. So we just love it, and
It's nice to be outside.
Yeah.
We spend so much time inside in front of computers. Right.
this is my
Oh
happy
yeah.
place.
Yeah, where would I be? I'd be home.
Yeah, we love
Right.
we love our neighborhood. We love our street. We love our neighbors. We have a little message board where we like hey, I'll be out of town. Look at my house, and or across the street neighbors, they come over, play with us, and it's a beautiful community. And we're very fortunate to be part of it.
Yeah. What are some projects that you're working on right now that you're looking forward to doing more showcasing in the future?
Well, I have a billboard coming out
That's amazing.
in Los Angeles.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll tag that.
Right.
We'll tag that. We'll tag that up,
By
definitely.
now, it's the whole month of February.
Oh, okay, great.
So it's an outdoor gallery show. It's the Billboard Creative, and there's like 20 pieces of art, I think, and it's all. I think it's all the billboards that just aren't being used. Because there's billboards everywhere.
Yes,
So there's a lot of billboards that aren't being used. So they've collaborated with this group to put artwork up on the billboards.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that.
To beautify the
mean,
place instead of the empty, billboards. You have art.
That's great.
Yeah, so
I
I
mean,
have one of my pieces up there, closer to downtown on 3rd Street, I think.
Oh, good.
And
I have friends in LA. I'll be
Yeah,
there.
so please
yeah.
take
Check it
photos.
out.
Take photos, do all the
Send it to us,
hashtags.
tag us.
Yeah.
That's great. Where
Yeah.
can we find you guys on social media so that everybody can go look? I spent quite a lot of time on the website because,
Yeah.
as I said, your art slows me down. I just want to look at it and just take it in, and I think, like, how did my questions are all process based, like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
And then I just delight in the colors and the visuals. It's beautiful, beautiful imagery. So
Right.
where can everybody else see that?
So our joint website is michaelandviktorija.com, and Michael, MICHAELAND, and Victoria is VIKTORIJA.com.
And we will link to that too.
Yeah, you see that down there, and on there you can get to all of our other websites.
And I think,
On
I mean,
Instagrams.
my makeup website is not that important to me. You know, it's, you know, I take pride of, you know, it's victoriabowers.com, but, you know, that's my, you know, bread and butter, and, you know, I do editorial and fashion advertising. But I definitely, what you said about, you know, that his art slows him down, it has the same impact on me. Even today, after 20 years, my mind is just blown by the way this man's brain works. And there is no task that he cannot take on and take it with such love and such detail-oriented precision that is just incredible. And really, I don't think I would ever be a painter. I would ever be an artist if I didn't need him.
Wow.
You know, because it's just the way his mind is just a beautiful, just a universe of colors. It's just incredible.
That's amazing.
I love
Oh.
I appreciate a lot of different styles, you know, and but one thing with some of the artwork, I love complicated things, like very busy, but everything has
That's
to
why he married me.
something. I did a self-portrait once that I did over the span of 4 or 5 years, and it was just different events in my life. First worked it on an 8x8, just a regular sheet of paper, and I started it when I was a freshman in high school, finished it my first year of college, and then made an actual canvas of it, like a 5 foot tall. So it was just all these, just like graphic illustrations of different events, you know. So it's just 4.5 year spanning thing of events that meant something to me, and then made a wire mesh and hands of jumping out of the canvas. So it was almost like it became this span of me, and then graduating out of that person and becoming somebody new, you know. So
Cool.
that's sort of like how I like the mural and this piece, you know, and sometimes it drives her really nuts. It's just the complication of it, but then the fun part is having it be so complicated and then making it all harmonious so it looks easy to look at. But then once you start looking at it, you're like, look at all this other stuff in here. Look at all these things, and I'm looking at this for 2 years, and I never noticed this one thing. You know.
So basically, if he was a cast of a Jersey Shore,
Right.
his name is the complication instead of the situation. It's so funny. We got her off the chair.
Yeah, I laughed myself off the chair. First time. ever.
Michael David Adams, the complication.
Right.
Yes.
I think it was the shock of you mentioning the Jersey Shore because I was like,
Right.
where's this going?
Where is that going?
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. You can find me at Sip and Soma on Instagram and Facebook primarily. And you can find Michael and Viktorija. We will put up their website tags and their Instagram tags and their Facebook tags, whatever tags they have.
We have a few.
We'll put them up there. And please, if you can't make it to TEDx Maplewood, I hope you do, but if you cannot, please make sure that you check out the website. Please make sure that you go to the gallery afterward, and I'm going to put all the information about that event coming up. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And we're